goal setting. Today we're gonna continue to talk about goal setting, the importance of values and motivation, because there is a lot of procrastination, and procrastination it's not our friend. But something important I want to touch up on, it is this, that there are many psychologists that do not agree with the statement, don't set up goals, instead become the person that achieves the goals. So I asked a few friends of mine, psychologists, and this is what they came up with. And I'm in complete agreement with what they came up with. Because setting goals, it's very important. It's a very important aspect of the personal development and the motivation, because goals will provide you with a sense of direction and a sense of purpose, and it can also serve as markers of progress and achievement, right? And then you become the type of person who is capable of achieving the goals that requires you to set up the mini goals. So how are you going to don't set up goals but become the person who achieves the goals if you don't set up the goal to become the person who achieves the goal? So it can be tricky, but I don't want you to be confused by a bunch of marketing techniques and a lot of marketing lingo which is meant to confuse you. So I'm going to unconfuse you now, all right? Because in order to become the person who is achieving goals, and then to set up the mini goals that are taking you to the bigger goal, that means that you need to develop the necessary skills. You have to have the skills. If you want to build a high-rise building, you have to have the skills, or hire a bunch of people that have those skills, right? But let's stick with values and motivation and procrastination type of a thing. So you need to build the necessary skills. Do not procrastinate. Stay motivated, no procrastination. Develop the mindset, which is going to keep you motivated. Repeat to yourself, I am achieving my goal. I will not be a couch potato. Although I am tired, I'm going to take a few minutes mental break, and I'm going to continue on thinking towards what's needed to achieve my goals, right? And your habits are very, very important, because habits can cause trouble for you into procrastinating, and no procrastination if you want to achieve the goals. That's a no-no, all right? So you need to develop the skill, the mindset, and the habits if you want to be successful. If you don't want to be successful, you probably don't want to listen to me right now. Right? Because I don't want to bore you, but if you want to be successful, if you want to achieve those mini goals, if you want to achieve the capacity to become the type of person who achieves the goals, stay here through this podcast. And in the end, a balance of both setting specific larger goal and setting mini goals to become the type of a person that can achieve those goals, it's likely to be most effective. But I'm going to come back again to values. Why? Because values are very important, and a lot of us don't know what our values are. And it's not healthy. It doesn't help us. We think we know what our values are, but these reside pretty much on the needs and values are different. We want them to be congruent for a lot of us. For some, not a lot of us. For some people, values and needs are congruent, and for other people, values and needs are not congruent, right? But the values are the things that are more important to you. Well, paying the bills, paying the electric bill, so you have internet. After you pay the internet bill, after you pay for the devices that are going to take you to the internet while the electricity is running, I guess a lot of people have those values. But what other than income, job related and income related values do you have? So there's a lot of us that cannot think past that. So let's spend a little bit of thought and understand that personal values can be almost anything. For example, family, loyalty, knowledge, personal development, personal growth, knowledge. For some people, knowledge is very, very important. Health, financial security. Well, we talked about financial security, and respect. This can be very, very important values for some people. And these values, they vary from person to person. No two people have the exact same values. They may have some values that are common, and some values that are unique to this individual. So keep in mind that values are very, very important. And I'm going to challenge you to easier find your values in addition to this one-on-one coaching or the online course that I've set up for you for clarifying values. In addition to that, I'm going to challenge you to go 24 hours with zero, less than zero complaining, no complaining, not even a thought. And I don't talk about not complaining through the voice. I'm talking about not complaining, not even a thought. So as soon as you find yourself beginning to form a complaining thought, then you're just going to go back to it. So, I'm just going to do 24 hours with zero complaining. And if you fail the first day, and you will, but let it be funny, right? Then you start again next day. And you're going to fail the second day, then you start again next day and next day and next day up until you achieve to go 24 hours with zero complaining. And then you're going to see your life changing. And through that process, you are going to free your mind to what's valuable to you, what's more important to you, and what is available and what is possible. Because if you are in constant criticism mode, you're gonna miss to see what's available and what's possible. And when you know what's possible, that might help you, and it will help you clarify some of your values. Right now, it's possible to listen to me through this podcast. Go do this 24-hour challenge, but you have to achieve a 24-hour, a full 24-hour. You're going to sleep through these 24 hours, of course, but not even zero thoughts of criticism. Not even, oh, I don't like that. That's criticism. You know you don't like that. You don't have to have a full thought. You're just going to walk away for something you don't like, right? You're just going to smile and say, that meal is not for me. No, I'm not eating gluten. Not criticizing anybody that is trying to feed you gluten. You're just going to know, thank you very much, gluten not for me, right? So goes with thoughts. Thank you very much, this thought not for me. I am challenging myself, and I am going to complete this challenge, and then I'm going to send Carmen feedback. But you're going to send me feedback only after you complete the 24 hours. And some people might complete this in 2 or 3 days. Some people might complete it in 5 to 7 days. But I want to hear from you, how are you doing 24 hours with zero complaining? Yeah? Why? Well, because it is important. And because success does not come from what you do occasionally, but it comes from what you do constantly, right? So if you constantly criticize, then you're going to be very successful at criticizing. Therefore, you're going to be very successful at not seeing what's available and not seeing what's possible, not having access to what's possible, not having access to what's available, because your thoughts are going to be so busy criticizing, right? And because you're so good at criticizing already, you sometimes you need to take action, especially if you're at work, especially if you're in a leadership position, in a managerial, in whatever position at work. At your job, you have to criticize something. As a parent, you have to criticize something, but critical thinking and criticizing something, they're two different things. So even if you are in the situations where criticism is needed, you can I promise you, you can go about it without full criticism. So I want to hear from you, how are you going to do on that? All right, Randy.
Yeah, that's a very good goal. It would be a challenge for a lot of people. It'd be interesting to see uh, if I was doing family therapy again. I would assign this to the family. I wouldn't have the person keep their own record. I'd say have the family keep their own record, because the family's going to hear more criticism than the person's going to come back and say, "Oh, I criticized once or twice yesterday." The family's going to say, "No, you criticized 200 times." So it'd be an interesting family therapy experiment. But what you're talking about, in my mind, is getting into the habit of avoiding thoughts that weigh a person down, and thoughts that can make a person have go into a drift. And you're talking about breaking a trance that a person has put themselves in, basically. Uh, if a person is critical and doing criticism of things and unaware of it, and not which a lot of us are, they're basically, in essence, they're in a trance, and they're doing something that they're unaware of. And so when you say, Carmen, write it down, or be very mindful of not of how much you are, you're saying break that trance and get out of that trance and go into a different state of mind, a different state. So it would be very interesting. When we talk in hypnosis about being in trance, people, I heard just yesterday, where was it? I heard somewhere that somebody was a stage hypnotist, and they said, I can't remember where I saw something on television, I think. Anyway, said they were a stage hypnotist, and they said, "Oh, I bet that's fun." He goes, "Oh yeah, you just come on stage, I tell you what to do, and you do it." And that is such a misconception about hypnosis. It's impossible to do that. If that were the case, if hypnotists could get people to do what they could hypnotize somebody and get them to do what the hypnotist wanted them to do, well, we'd all be multimillionaires, because we would hypnotize bank employees to give a lot of money in our accounts. We'd hypnotize bank presidents to give us half the business. So it doesn't not have, anyway. My point being is about that is that breaking it.
Breaking the habit of criticizing. Randy is having internet connection. There is some bad weather we're experiencing. Randy, go ahead.
Well, just how the being in a state of mind that's a trance, one doesn't have to be going to a hypnotist for that to happen. We've talked about that before. I wrote something on my Facebook page a few weeks ago about how everybody's in a trance when they go see Avatar. And sure enough, I went to see it. Yes, that whole audience was in a trance. Nobody made a peep. Nobody said a word. And I don't know if anybody ever got up to went to the bathroom. And that's pretty amazing. That would be a pretty effective trance for a hypnotist. So yeah, it's breaking a state of mind that habitually we think and that we do subconsciously. And we've said this before here also, is if a person is unable to stop themselves from being critical, if they find it's too hard and it's too challenging and they don't know what to do instead, or the person deserves criticism, or if I don't criticize, they're going to mess up. I've got to criticize my kids or they won't do well. Or if I didn't get on my husband or my wife's back, they would mess up, etc., etc. If a person can't come to any other alternatives to get themselves out of that pattern, that's a good place for hypnosis to start, in my opinion. It's a commercial for hypnotism, but it's a good place for hypnosis to start because it can help look at what subconsciously is going on. Because sometimes people are critical for very strange reasons that they may not be unaware of. It may be safer. They may have grown up in a very critical family, and being critical is a way of communicating and a way of keeping themselves from being too vulnerable, and it's their subconscious way of keeping them safe. So that's an example. That's one example. So anyway, that's what I was thinking when you were saying that.
Yes, that's very good. That's definitely very good to hear that. What happens though with some people is that they don't have a family around to to give them good feedback. Instead, they're gonna have some family that's gonna criticize them more about criticizing. So that's not a good idea. So um, go ahead and be nice to yourself. Why? Because you can. What do you mean? Because yes, you can. Why? Because I said so. So yes, you can go ahead and be nice to yourself and be playful. Be playful about this. If you have an accountability partner that can help you keep score of this, go ahead and have that partner. If if you don't have an accountability partner that can help you with this, then do it on your own. And there is so much more to say about criticism, but we're not going to talk about criticism tonight. We've talked about it plenty in the past, and we can address it again later on at a different podcast because it's a very important topic. But so is finding your values, clarifying your values, to find your motivation, to find your passion, that which fuels you to become the person that you need to be to achieve the goals, right? So marketing lines are very important, but a lot of marketing lines contain neuro language. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what they do. But you don't have to buy every single marketing language, um, um, because marketing linguistics, it's made in such it's a whole industry. Uh, the language of the marketing is such that tells you what to do by convincing you that it is so and that you need that, right? So I'm here to help you clarify your values, right? Marketing is needed, but there is honest marketing too, and there is informational marketing too. There's all kinds of marketing. I don't particularly like pushing people into, I was gonna say something that doesn't sound very good, like shoving something. No, I'm not gonna complete the sentence. I'm not a big fan of insisting to push something on someone that the only reason they think about it is because they saw my message. I mean, that's not me. So maybe that's not very business savvy of me, but that's me. And you too, you don't have to be bought by someone saying that forget setting up goals, because focus on becoming the person that's going to achieve the goals. And then a year before or 2 years before that, you've heard, oh, let's set up the goal so you can become the person to which. So it's okay. Anyway, so I happen to I happen to be aware of that, right? So what I would like to touch up on right now is a little bit of the subconscious.